Greetings. This is the Grumpy Old Slan, and today we're going to be reading a fantasy bande dessinée titled La Saison des Cendres, the Season of Ashes. And with me, as usual, is the intellectual quandary. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Greetings, my friend. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm fairly good. I understand you had a very busy weekend
A very
getting,
busy week. I think I had
yeah.
4 games.
Yeah, wow. Because I know this week, you failed to survive a horrifying tomb.
Oh, you could say that. Yeah, you could say
Yeah.
that.
So yeah, that was from the accounts I heard, quite a fun session, and
Oh, it's very enjoyable. I'm glad that I got to at least do the rite of passage of a role-playing gamer.
yeah, and then the Tomb of Horrors yesterday, the Codex Albana on Saturday, which was a great stream on Bear's channel.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
And then
I've
Heroic on Friday, Call of
oh
Cthulhu on
yeah, I still
Tuesday.
have to catch up on that one. So yeah, you did a lot
So
of gaming.
every single session was incredibly horrifying. It's like I
Yeah,
played Call of Cthulhu 4 times last week.
yeah. I only played OSC Saturday morning. It was great fun. Uh, we were in the lands of summer that Brian
Oh
is running, and I'm having a blast with it. So
yeah. Oh good.
yeah. Okay, so let us start with the bande dessinée. So we got it. This is fantasy, clearly from the cover, but let's move on. I don't know what you think of the artwork so far, but I love this one. I remember I bought these books like over 30 years ago, and I just saw the cover and I just fell in love with it. Um,
Now,
so
are we giving these ratings or?
no, we're not going to give it ratings. I'm just saying, you know.
I like
Um,
it. It's pretty good as a cover.
yeah, this is actually the back cover. And I did a translation of what's written. So, walk, you poor dwarves, walk, walk until you run out of breath. Thus go Aaron, Norin, and Otten, whose mission is to find their new king. Where is he hidden, this forsaken Raken? In Ewandor's domain, says the legend. But it is quite far, this mythical land, further than Gador, the city of cutthroats, and perhaps even further than the den of the repulsive Sin, who spies on every move of the little troop. Faced with deadly perils, the dwarves has as allies only a thieving guide and a stupid barbarian.
Yeah.
They will they will soon learn that in the season of ashes, tears have the color of blood.
Oh, very
Yeah,
ominous.
yeah. So this is actually the image that you see. It's the when you open the book, you know it's a hardcover, and it's on the inside, the first sheet of paper.
Right.
You
Okay.
know, like
Very
the
odd.
left hand side would be the back of the cover, and the right hand side is the first. Very
Yeah.
strange creatures there. This is the title page, and this is so this is part of a trilogy, and the trilogy is called Legends of the Forgotten Countries. And this is page 1. So now, so people can really appreciate the artwork, we're going to zoom in and scroll up and down the page.
He
So
says
we
we
have
like
this
I'm the one doing
strange.
anything.
Yeah, it's the royal we.
I
No,
know.
you could use the royal we. I can't. At least when you're playing Codex Albana.
Aha.
Yeah.
Yeah, take that, Devere. Anyway.
I could just see your character addressing the veer with the royal we. We are
Yeah, now
not
he's addressing
amused.
to me.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway.
So this seems to be just a small scene to set us up as to where we are. We see some creatures reaching some eggs. A giant eye looks in. A hand grabs the egg. And then we see it is one of our characters
Oh,
who will
that looks
simply
like the
drink.
thief.
What?
That looks like the thief.
Ah, yeah. And he is part of a race that is elf-like, but they're not called elves. They're called Lins, Lins, or something like that. I'm sure we'll find it somewhere.
Okay.
Um, so he eats the egg. He hears some noise, and what does he hear? We see what he hears. It's three dwarves with their mules, struggling to get them to move forward. I'm not going to read all the dialogue and translate it. I will translate some of it on the fly, but when it's kind of obvious what is being said, I'm not going to do that. Okay, just so you know.
Okay.
But if you're curious what they say, I can always do that. So he's curious about the presence of dwarves here. Wonders if they have a hard head, and will use a sling on one of them, who will. This causes some chaos.
Understandably.
And, yeah. However, they didn't see the sling stone arrive, right? And they believed that their friend got wounded falling from that branch.
Right.
Is a suggestion one of them makes, but the other one suggests maybe something else. Who knows? We should watch out. This land is not familiar for us. So. And now they make camp, and we see one of them saying, poor Otten. Otten is the one who's unconscious. This mission is really not good for him. 2 days ago, his mule and goods stolen, and now he is half dead.
Oh, he's not having a good time of it, is he?
No, he's not. And now we see our elf-like creature going, oh no, this is enough. Let's go see if these dwarves are as stupid and rich as it is rumored in the north. And then we cut to the camp where they're examining the wound, which seems to be quite deep. And the thief will just step on the fire, putting it out, telling it's dangerous to have a fire in this forest. The eyes, the dusk often has eyes that can be malevolent. The dwarves, of course, challenge him, and he will present himself. He is Furfin. He is a vagabond and occasionally healer of honest races. Something tells me I could be useful. Yeah, something like my sling. Of course, one of the dwarves is all happy about this incredible coincidence. We couldn't hope for better. And of course, one of them is thinking,
very suspicious.
Yeah. And then the Furfin says, of course, I would need some payment for my services. And in this universe, the currency is what they call salts, which seems to be colored powder of some sort, and it's very precious and doesn't seem to dissolve in water. And it doesn't seem to dissolve in water, so I'm not sure what they are.
Oh, it's not bath salts. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either.
Oh, it must be that magic sand stuff. You can build stuff underwater.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah. So while one dwarf happily makes the payment, the other one is ruminating about how he doesn't trust this suspicious character, who does have some talents of a healer, so he will do something for him. And
so it's not completely false, at least.
No, it's not completely false. And he asks the dwarves as they wait for the one to recover, And where are you going so far from your lands? And the answer is in the north. And that's it. They're not very talkative.
Fair, fair.
So he decides he will make them a little bit more talkative. He grabs the wine bottle around his wrist. He has a small bracelet, but there's something in it which he drops in, and he toasts has a toast with them to a good outcome for their trip. Of
And
course,
obviously, dwarves, they take him up on that.
they drink, and the more naive dwarf just tells him, "Oh, you're the dwarf's friends. You saved Oten. We'll never forget it, and I'll tell you what we're doing in this godforsaken land. For 2 seasons now, we left our lands. Our king is dead, and the one who was to succeed him disappeared many years ago in the north. We're not even know where exactly. His name is Raken, and he lives in..." And then the other dwarf tells him to shut up. You speak too much when you drink. To which our thief thinks, well, let him drink.
Yep.
Because that's what he wants. And a little later, the dwarves have basically the drug just basically they fell asleep because of what he put in their wine.
Of course.
Which he feels is too bad. It could have, he would have liked to know more. And we see him walking away with the 2 mules. And while thinking, dwarves looking for a king that they don't even know. That's a dwarvish story if I ever heard one. Poor fools. But then he thinks they're hiding too much for it to be trivial. There might be more to take from them than just 2 mules and a few salts. And then the next morning, as they wake up, he's still there.
So he's thinking that he might be in it for the long haul here.
Yeah, there might be more that he can maybe, get more than just a couple of mules and a few salts and some, travel equipment and stuff. He's in it for the long game, apparently. And I will point out, because the first time I read this in the book, it is so subtle you don't notice it. One of the dwarves is not asleep.
Oh,
look here. I don't know if you can see. When he has the mules, there's a little gap, and we see one dwarf readying his axe.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Elfbait.
Greetings, Elfbait. The artist is Thierry Ségur. This is a French bande dessinée, first of a trilogy. And we're just reading through the story and admiring the art. I will spell his name for it because it's not the standard English spelling of Terry. It's Thierry. And it's written by Bruno Chevalier, an aptly named writer for such a series, if you ask me.
Oui, Chevalier, oui.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so next morning, the dwarves wake up. Our thief is still there. And he says, finally, I thought I'd make, our paths, are together for a short way. I could travel with you for a while. Roads in the north aren't always safe for those who take them without a guide. To which one of the dwarves, I think we'll know which one, says, really? What good fortune that we have you by our sides. Huh. Nocturnal walks apparently favor friendship in this land. To which our thief wonders what is implied by this comment.
Yeah, that's clearly sarcasm.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the dwarves comments about a small storm coming this way.
Right.
The thief mentions that in the season of the ashes, that would surprise me. And then in terror, he says, "No, this isn't a storm. Hide quickly or you are dead." And as you can see, they're like on a path through a marsh. So they go in the water and hide. Clearly, this is not a natural cloud.
Hmm.
And we see this image.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And you can even still see one of the eyes in the cloud here and the mouth here, you know. And riding a strange two-headed beast is this strange knight, and has has half a dozen or so of these strange creatures running around with him.
Have a look at Elfbait's comment as well.
Yeah, exactly. Not an elf.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely not an elf. Don't know what
But
you're
it's
on
a
about.
dwarf, you know. We see a tree, some birds in it. We see the knight looking at them. Thunder roars, destroys the three, and he just says, "Too much happiness in this land," and keeps going. Which is just the funniest way to introduce how evil someone is. That a few birds chirping offend him.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, screw this tree. Shut up, birds.
Yeah. Too much happiness in here, you know. So, and as they get out of the water slowly, they wonder what it was. And our thief says it was a thunder knight. Yeah. Yeah, you've known people. Yeah, un chevalier tonnerre. So the tonnerre is thunder, and chevalier is knight. So it's a thunder knight. And one of the dwarves comment about how terrifying his power is. He'd never seen anything like it. And as they discuss and exclaim what a crazy land this is, something grabs. Again, poor Otten, losing his mule, getting wounded by falling, and now
it's really
attacked
not
by
his,
a strange creature.
his week, is
This
it?
is not his mission. And whatever this creature is with these big yellow eyes and this strange tentacle arm, whatever, has grabbed him under the water. It's called a Jagger. It's spelled like Mick Jagger, which I always felt was hilarious.
Oh, he's got the moves like Jagger.
I guess. And our thief identifies it, but says you've got to hit the eyes. So apparently the eyes are the vulnerable thing. And this is, we see the dwarves fighting. Of course, the crossbow bolt does hit. So our happy, kind of naive dwarf is pretty proficient with his crossbow. And the thief manages to slice it with his sword, thinking, "Don't kill my dwarves, you you creature, you vile creatures."
Yeah, I haven't stolen everything from them yet.
Yeah, exactly. And then one of the dwarves gives the killing blow. Of course, some of the guts spill on him, to which all he can say is, "Oh, it stinks," as he is covered with the slime from the creature.
That seems fair to me.
Yeah. And the dwarves comment on poor Otten on how this trip really isn't he's not really doing well on this trip. The healer helps him and goes, "It's still the same price." And then the dwarf who's the leader, the blonde dwarf who's the most suspicious one,
The one who's pretending to be asleep.
Yeah. And clearly a bit of a smarter one says, "Even though I don't believe you to be honest, Furfin, would you like to be our guide?" To which our thief accepts even excuses about his honesty. Uh, but yeah, he's told, like, they realize they ignore too much about this land, and if it's salts that you want, you'll have them, believe me. And he asked, well, where should I lead you? And the answer is the domain of Ewandor. And the response is that this is a long and perilous trip. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? And he is told that he knows pretty much almost as much as they do.
Right.
To which the thief thinks, yeah, you're clever, but I'll know. And he mentions that they need to hire a man at arms, a mercenary. One of the things I like about this series is the little bits of world building. Like, they're walking on this bridge or log, but then we see like this weird snake creature and frog creature, and then we have a panel with just the snake eating the frog. That's it, these little asides like that, which kind of
Just
help
make
the
the
world
world
building,
feel
make it,
like
yeah,
lived in and real. Yeah.
yeah, and also how different it is in terms of the creatures. The snake looks very flat, not like any snake that we have.
Mm-hmm.
The plants also look a little bit odd, all of them. I mean, trees are trees, but the shape of them, or the
Yeah, a
fruits
little bit
or
warped.
leaves are odd. So, and then 3 days later, further north, they get to Gaydor. And this is one of those big cities, the city of cutthroats. And here we see a throat getting cut.
Of course we do.
Yeah. So,
I wonder why it's called that. Oh, that's why.
yeah, exactly. And now the dwarves, they've never seen a city like that. It's crazy, you know. Um, they pay for stabling their mules. Um, they wander in the town. As they climb, this is almost as high as our mountains, exclaims one dwarf. And the other one says, yeah, but it's got mais plus mouvementé, which is, yeah, it is a huge city for such a chaotic city. Actually, while there is chaos, I mean, there are guards arresting people. And he says, there's a lot more action in their mountains, is the comment of one of the dwarves. And they wonder how high they're going to be climbing. And he says, yeah, we're almost there. We're in the quarter of the high inns where the most famous mercenaries in the north are. So you meet in a tavern, right? So they go to the taverns.
That's how every good story starts.
Exactly. And we see this character whom we've seen before. He's the cutthroat we saw.
Oh, yes.
Who notices something, and he addresses Furfin.
That's the thief.
Telling him, you don't say hi to your big brother anymore?
Oh.
And Furfin doesn't seem too happy about this, and asks the dwarves to wait for him there while he approaches his brother. And who feigns concern about him. Oh, you're back. You seem pale. You're not frequenting bad people by any chance. You who are so naive. Clearly, he's referring to the dwarves here.
Of course.
And clearly, he and Furfin just tells him, like, look, what was between us is no more. I'm not part of your gang anymore. And his brother insults him, telling him he's going to be small fry for all his life. and asking what he's doing with the half size half pints, the dwarves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Meanwhile, Utten, while unlucky in this trip, does have some sense. He does not like seeing this conversation. He can't hear what they're saying. They don't know, he doesn't know what they're saying, but he's telling Norin that he doesn't like what's being, what is being said there. That this does not augur well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they Furfin leaves his brother, insulting him on the way out. And then while they keep on while they keep going to where they're going, he muses on what bad luck it was to meet up with, to run into him.
Yeah.
And those idiots that don't want to tell me anything about their kid, about their king, he's gonna have to play it tight. And now we just get the older brother leaving where he was, going somewhere, probably following them. And again, we see that lived-in world, that three-legged raptor catching some other bird that,
It's very nice.
And now we see they're in the inns. And they're talking to a guy with an armor and who says, I refuse. You'd have to be demented to accept such an expedition. Another one laughs at them, saying, even with an army, I wouldn't go. Another one, too far, too dangerous. It's no. Many, many inns later. An old mercenary tells him, you're not going to find anyone. The north hasn't been traveled since so long. And in addition, 2 days ago, Hurl, the great master of the Thunder Knights, has been seen galloping towards the lands where no one goes. And where no one goes is in quotes.
Mm-hmm.
To which the thief explains that Hurl, it is him that we managed to avoid. And the old mercenary tells him, if you've crossed him and you have 2 lives, one does not escape to him, even in you don't escape him even in dreams. To which, and then he leaves, and they conclude that, well, he took us for liars.
Yeah.
So what can we do now that everyone has refused us? And the thief will suggest that they buy an Achae slave. They are strong, brave, and generally faithful to their masters. To which one of the dwarves says, and they're said to be stupid also.
Okay.
And now the dwarves bemoan their fate. Why did the Dwarven Council task them with finding their king in the domain of Ewandor? What craziness this is. Clearly, one of them likes his beer quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And now we see outside the window. Who do we see here? But Merlin, Furfin's brother, who snuck up.
Of course he did. Oh my!
This is how high up he is.
Yeah, I'm just looking. What the frig?
And now in the dark and low streets of the city, he's, while having fun, but he was waiting for some compatriots of his. He tells them that Furfin is back. He is trafficking with dwarves. And now they discuss what they're going to do. And then the morning, the sun rises. They go to the market. In one of the stall, we see somebody who has maybe some charisma issues being told that this time, I swear it's true. It is a true filter of beauty, not like the last time. And our thief does what thieves do. He grabs one of the vials and sticks it in his coat,
Of course he does.
unobserved. And he goes, Here
he
we
must
are. Azel is the best slave merchant in Gador.
He
And
must
now
have
we
passed
say,
his
"Oh,
stealth roll and his sleight of hand roll, eh?
yeah, yeah. I have what you want, Furfin. A true Akei from the south. You're lucky they are rare." And now we see this cage and this rather. They're asking him how much, and it is a coupe is it's a 10 measures of red salts.
Okay.
Our thief answers, "What? But you're the king of thieves." And the merchant just says, "Coming from you, accusing me of theft amuses me, Furfin.
Yeah.
This Akei is a true living legend, condemned to death 19 times in the southern realms and marked with the seal of the dragon."
Oh. Okay.
At this price, I checked the legend. I checked the legends, and the leader of the dwarf says, "That's fine. The price doesn't matter to me. We have a deal." And we hear the Akei talk for the first time, going, "Small man, be my master."
Okay.
And here's our new companion for the road, Mordecai. And there he
Yeah.
is. And our Akei just explains how the little men are funny, and one of the dwarves exclaims like, "Giant shit, a giant," because he's so tall.
Yeah.
And then the next line is, "Little men are nice to have freed Mordecai. Mordecai very hungry now." And then one of the dwarves, probably invade, tells him, "We are dwarves. We are dwarves, Mordecai, not little men." And as he laughs, one of the dwarves comments to the leader that, "You've been had. This warrior is stupid." And the leader just says, "You're never happy. Just be happy." He doesn't realize where it is we're going. We are leaving tomorrow at dawn. And we see they have been followed by one of our thief's brother's associates.
Of course.
And now, much later, they're getting drunk. Mordecai saying, "No, I'm not drunk." Aaron is clearly quite drunk. Mordecai says he's hungry. And while the dwarves argue about who's drunker, and their leader just tells them to shut up, he grabs like this roast, and then a man grabs him by the shoulder saying, "My meal is good, you stinking Akei. You should be in the stables where you belong." And before anyone can really do anything, although the thief does try to scream a warning, the Akei will punch him, killing the man on the spot.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is strong, The innkeeper yells for the guards. One of the customers says, "Yeah, prevent the guards. The Akei with these dwarves. They're all strangers." The Akei, of course, grabs the innkeeper, telling him to not stop screaming. And the thief rallies the dwarves, gets them to go out. The innkeeper gets thrown out the window, but who is already outside but the guards?
Oh, shit. Okay.
So now they have to run away.
Now they've been caught committing the crime as well.
Yeah. And Elf Bait said it was a chaotic city. I mean, the the city has a government. Clearly, the guards are feared and they're present, which doesn't prevent any large city to have. The guards run after them. One of them taunts the Achae, saying, "You run better than you know how to fight. Show me."
Oh no!
And this is where the Achae shows his skill.
Of course he does.
Just one swing of the sword, wounding a man, killing another, wounding a third, or maybe killing him.
Just with one swipe.
Yeah, one swipe. Yeah. Serious wounds on two, and one is clearly dead, and they keep running. And clearly this barbarian enjoys it because he's laughing as he's running away. And the alarm is being called. So they have a whistle that they raise the alarm with.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to this, they see this platform. The thief directs them to it. And they're called fly slims. And he says, free another one. So they break the chains of these large birds or flying mounts.
Right.
And one of the dwarves starts saying, we're not going to, use this brute, take this brute with us. And the leader says, yes. And clearly this guy knows how to fight. He might not be the brightest mercenaries, but he knows how to fight a dealing tactic, how to, he grabs the lantern, whatever, spills it, causing a fire, preventing anything from following. One of the mounts flies away. They're telling the other one, like, hurry, hurry. And he's trying to mount it. It's not going too well. The mount is probably freaked out by the fire too.
Mm-hmm.
And with the fire, of course, the platform starts to break. He's still fighting the guards. And as the dwarf loses control of the mount, Mordecai realizes what happens. The flat platform falls. And the ones that are away saying, oh my God, they'll never make it. They do.
Hey, Coco.
Greetings, Coco. Yeah. High wisdom, low intelligence kind of fighter then. Yeah. And he manages to grab onto the leg of the mount and they make their way out. And you can see how tall the city is.
Oh, yeah.
Crossbows are pulled out and shot. The gang of thieves, the cutthroats, we'll refer to them, see this all happen. And they see them flying north. And now we see the lands to the north. And clearly some of the bulls hit. And they decided the mount has lost too much blood. The other one's not much better off. We'll have to continue on foot. And one of the dwarves is despairing of this because their mules are still back in the city.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And one of the dwarves, like the unlucky dwarf, Norin says, and it's all the Mordecai's fault. And Mordecai just goes, it's not true. It's the fault of the inn, not of me.
I mean, he's technically not wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, the thief so says, we'll deal with this later. Now we need to get distance between us and Gador. And they start on their way, but not before Mordecai puts the beast out of its misery, just telling him, don't suffer. So yeah, high wisdom for sure.
Very empathic, not very intelligent.
Yeah. And now they find this strange scene. Clearly petrified people. And they wonder what happened. And the thief just says, these idiots tried to confront Hurl, the great master of the Thunder Knights. Uh,
Went
and
really well for them, clearly.
yeah, oh, they were idiots, but Mordecai just says how Hurl is very strong, clearly.
Well,
And
he
they use
understands that much.
yeah, exactly. And one of them finds this helmet. His companion tells him, "You look ridiculous," and he goes, "Well, it pleases me." And they start to argue again. Of
Oh,
course, their leader isn't very happy about this. He goes, "Stop it! Is the North making you stupid? When we're back, we'll discuss it with the Dwarven Council." To which, of course, Mordecai asks, "What is the Dwarven Council?"
of course he does.
Yeah. And as they start on their way, Furfin, ever trying to profit, says, "You have the soul of a leader, Norin." To which Norin thinks, "And you, that of a profiteer."
Ah, ah, ah! He saw through your game.
He saw through the game. And once in a while in these books, they have these little poems, and I did translate it. I can't get it to rhyme. I'm not a poet. Much further north of Gador, the days they chase, the fleeting nights, in the great north, a different land, the tiring trail their steps erase. Clever chance makes up your fate. Further on, 'tis said, a dwarf is king. So they travel through the land, and eventually they get to a rather arid-like country, and Furfin announces that here, this is the beginning of the lands where no one goes.
Okay.
And before, by tonight, we will have crossed the desert of Hyaim and reached the gorge of Burning Winds. And
Right.
he suggests that they be discreet uh, to go through this. But once we're past this, the domain of Ewandor shouldn't be very far. Um, Mordecai claims he's hungry and wants to hunt.
When
Uh,
isn't he hungry, for God's sake?
yeah, exactly. um, and he's told there's only trouble to hunt here. Keep your hunger and stay quiet. And we've seen, those little side scenes we see of nature. Some of them aren't quite natural. You see some of them use tools,
Okay.
and they observe, and we zoom into the eyes and we get to here. What is this? Some sort of tower that's in a deep, deep chasm?
What the heck?
Yeah. And we hear a voice saying how his little spies have seen something. Let me see, let me see. Dwarves? Yes, dwarves. But why dwarves? They have some curious motivations. They look for a king at Ewandor's. How strange. But can anyone hide anything from me, Hurl? And now we see Hurl again, saying no power amongst powers, the only being to whom I owe obedience in this world.
Okay.
so so now we know what the hierarchy of he the master of the Thunder Knights has somebody above him. And he goes, and as he thinks and cogitates about what he's seen, he goes, "Of course, why have not I not thought of this before? A dwarven king. Luck is with us, but first," and he calls GF. GF seems to be a goblin of some sort. And he goes, "Go to the Gorge of Burning Winds and bring me back 3 dwarves. You can kill the other 2. No
Okay.
failure, Jeff. No failure."
No
Uh,
pressure, mate. No pressure.
no pressure, yeah. And then he tells Harold that he will have to go and kill the old Evandor since his small intrigues have just been uncovered. And Harold tells him that he will crush Evandor, and if he wants to, the entire north. And to it, the answer is even more than the north, even more once I have the dwarves. So something's happening. We don't know what. Clearly, there's more to it than we know so far.
Clearly, the plot is thickening.
Yeah, exactly. Much later in the desert of Chaim, we see a flying mount of some sort, and we have arguments again
Of course.
because the cutthroats are arguing. Like your delirious going further is insane, and the leader of the cutthroats is like, if my stupid brother is going there, I don't see why we can't go too. My brother wouldn't risk his skin for nothing. Believe me, I'm smelling the big time here.
Classic older brother not wanting to be overshadowed.
Yeah. And one of them sees something moving on the ground, and we see what's moving here, and they just get shot down. Our cutthroats is the only survivor, I believe. At least he's the only one we see falling and still. And they don't use goblin. They don't use gobelin. They use marbelin, which is a word I've never seen anywhere else, but I'll call them goblins because that's essentially what they are.
Okay.
As Elfbait said, the not an elf trope. Well, this is the not a goblin trope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we see one of his companions clearly didn't make it,
Oh dear.
and they're about to kill him when the little minions, and this is where we see the name is one of the goblins tell him, "Stop, you idiot! Sin wants him alive. We've lost enough time. Let's go get those dwarves." He then orders one of his lieutenants to take the northern tunnel with his group, and of course, our cutthroat is wondering what Sin the Unnameable and the dwarves, like, what the hell's happening here? This is, he's lost at this point.
You and me both, mate.
Yeah. And we go back. One of the interesting things is, that Sin is talking because of the lettering they use.
Yeah, it's like more like cryptic in it.
Yeah, they did like uppercase letters sometimes in the middle of a word, and they all go below, and some of the letters are smaller and higher, and it's weird.
Yeah.
And he wonders about how that they have so many unexpected visitors these days. I just spared one, and Hurl wonders if he is so important that he merits to be spared. And he goes, no, he's just a little small time vermin, caressing small time dreams like his brother. But I've always yeah but I've always liked I'm not sure, mischievous souls, shall we say.
Okay, yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough.
And now they're in the gorge of the burning winds. They exclaim how well named it is. We see the goblins in the tunnels. There's clearly like doors. They exit.
I'm seeing a lot of things that are very aptly named.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah,
Cutthroat City, the Gorge of Burning Winds.
yeah.
It's great. I love it.
And as the goblins exit the caves, Mordecai smells them. And he exclaims, like, I'm smelling goblins. Goblins, they're mean and strong. Okay, we we can't confront them. They'd kill us all. And then they realize, hearing the scream, the battle cries, that they're stuck. There's there's some in front, some behind them. They can't escape, so they will find a place where they can maybe at least only have attackers on one side.
Yeah, try and funnel them through.
Yeah. One of the dwarves thought they only lived in the south, and wonders if they could be negotiated with. Furfin trips, and out of his coat pocket falls out the flask that he had stolen in Gador. And while he tells them there's only one language they understand, and he tells everyone, drink a small sip of this. It is an elixir of savagery made by the witches of Iz.
Oh,
And be careful, a large dose will drive you crazy. So 2 of the dwarves drink some, and Mordecai downs the rest. Yeah.
I knew that was coming. Oh no.
The thief tells him, you condemned yourself as the goblins reach them, and there's a narrow pass here that the goblins go through, and in the front, clearly with their eyes, you can see they've gone savage. The dwarves, 2 dwarves and the AKE are fighting. The other dwarf, not quite as effective. Right now, we don't see Furfin, so we don't know what he's doing.
The dwarf should have had the little doses first and then just given Mordecai what's left.
Yeah, and we see here in the background, Furfin is using his sling.
Oh yeah.
As one dwarf falls, the goblins grab him and run away with him. They keep fighting. Numbers and strength are not always enough to calm certain warrior spirits. The goblins learn it at their expense. And as the goblins flee, Furfin exclaims how, we're alive, we're alive. The dwarven leader exclaims, where's Aaron? And they realize something. Mordecai, who has just gone totally insane, hasn't yet died from the elixir, has killed Norin.
No.
Aaron, sorry.
For God's sake, Mordecai.
Yeah.
He's like Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
Yeah.
He kills everything he touches.
Yeah. And as the dwarf attacks him, screaming assassin, the thief tells him it's the elixir, be careful. Hits him with the sling, so he falls over unconscious, and he's about to kill the dwarf's about to kill him. The thief tells him, stop, he's not responsible. And the dwarf tells him, oh, really? Then who is? You probably, with your godforsaken drugs and your sneaky sling. I really want to kill you. You're and the thief just says, you're not judging me well. The death of Auten and the disappearance of Aaron are blinding you. What would you have done without me? And the dwarf tells him to silence, your words hurt. And he strikes with his axe.
Oh.
But that's where he strikes. You see the image on top.
Yeah.
And he's just, oh my God, what is this crazy mission? My friends are dead. And in the season of ashes,
questioning all his life
yeah,
choices.
yeah, exactly. And in the season of ashes, all tears have only one color. And the thief sort of tries to get him out and says, the domain of Ewandor is straight ahead. Your king awaits. What do you want to do with Mordecai? I could heal him still. And he goes, no, leave him. I don't want to see him. I can't forgive him. So
Completely
so they leave the dead dwarf under his armor and a cairn of stones, and they go on their way.
Or at least he got a proper burial of such.
Yeah,
like,
of sorts. Yeah.
Like it's. Oh.
And this is so they have these strange lands with lava coming out, and eventually he goes, okay, here are the swamps indicated by the map. And the dwarf asks, is this the domain of Ewandor? And our guide, in typical guide fashion, says, I have no idea. The rumors about this place never attracted me to it. And the dwarf says, what? You don't know the domain of Ewandor? And he goes, I have no reason to know more about it than you. Look, we have to trust each other. It is time to speak frankly. The dwarf... Sorry. Yeah, there's a few nice little poems here and there in the story too, Coco. Yeah, speak frankly. Yeah, you've got gall. And the thief says, well, if you don't trust me, why did you take me as a guide? And the dwarf tells him, there's a dwarven poem that says, if far you must go, hire a clever lad, and for fortune and gold, he'll know the way. The rest would probably not please you as much. And the thief just says, this poem is stupid. It is dwarven.
I'm loving this. This is great.
Yeah. And he says, like, who'd believe that your king lives alone in this godforsaken land? You know, you should. When you have understood it, you'll finally see the way things are. Raken lives with Ewandor. And the thief just tells him, you must be crazy. Ewandor is just an old legend for kids and dwarves. Here is only evil spreading from the land where no one goes. Nothing can live here.
These stories are only for little people.
Yeah, exactly. I live in the north, and I know what is what. Your dwarven council has fooled you, or you don't want to tell me everything, the truth. I love these little drawings here. Like they convey so much with the characters' expressions.
They do,
you know. And let's start exploring these little islands. And they grab like a large plant and start to row it forward. And as they sort of move ahead, the thief just says, you know, your king has strange taste to want to live here. And the dwarf just tells him, you know, don't worry about his taste. That's not what you're paid for. Frustrating our thief again. And then something seems to happen. A wave pushes them towards these big spikes. They don't quite know what's going to happen. And as they're about to hit, something comes out of the water. Who invades my lands? Who cuts down my plants? A dwarf and a lin. Is this how you arrive as enemies in the domain of Ewandor? And the dwarf is, exclaims Ewandor's name, to which he says, "Why are you screaming my name? Did you not want to meet me?"
Oh, shit. Oh, right. Oh,
Yeah.
that's not what I was expecting.
Yeah. And the dwarf explains he was sent here to find his new king, Rakan. And Ewandor says, after 1,000 seasons of reign, the wise Alton is dead, and Rakan must succeed him. Oh my! And our thief is just flabbergasted that what Norin said is true.
Yeah.
And Ewandor says that Rakan is a good choice for a king.
I am so confused.
And the dwarf is wondering, you know me, are you reading my thoughts? In his question is the answer. I am one of the powers of the north, and not a legend as some would believe it. Rakan isn't here anymore. He is where his place is, to look for a great secret in the land of dreams. And the dwarf, of course, is not very thrilled about that because it means
he traveled all this way for nothing, basically.
Yeah, basically. And to which he's told, so much emotions, there are worse things than having to continue your mission, like renouncing it. And you're not the only one in life. Don't you still have two friends? The Lin Furfin and the Akei Morkai? And the dwarf is outraged. Them friends? This thieving
Yeah.
this thieving scoundrel who imagines himself, I don't know what, treasures, and this crazy, furious fool who must be dead. I'd rather be with a Thunder Knight. And Ewandor tells him how ignorant he is. Real scoundrels don't imagine anything. Real crazies laugh at the moon. And as for your last remark, it reminds me that time is short. So listen to me. 10 leagues from here, the mounts, ... So he's given directions to where he now must go.
Okay.
And now we cut back. Sin tells Hurl that it is time. Ewandor knows what awaits him. Don't deceive him. No, don't disappoint him. Sorry. False friends. Offer debt to the dwarf and to the Lin, since Jeff has failed. And now we see the goblins come back with the one dwarf and the other and the cutthroat, and they see each other wondering, like, what are we doing here? What's happening? And the thunder knife goes off.
Oh, of course he does. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Ewandor gives a seed to Norin. It will help guide you in the land of dreams. And our thief says, will help us? I'm not planning to go there. I've got nothing to gain with these dwarven tales. And Ewandor tells him, oh no, for now, your life, later, 100 times your weight in red salts that Rakan will give you if you accompany Norin. And now we see what the thief is all about. As visions of riches.
He has red salts, like shaped dollar signs in his eyes.
Yeah, exactly. And the dwarf wonders why his king would give such a sum to this thief that they don't need. And Ewandor tells him, what do you know of your needs? Do you know the cost of life? Do you know destiny? finally know that you've attracted the attention of an extremely powerful being who suffers from an infinite pain beyond what your language can express. Watch out for him. Watch out for yourself. Watch out for everything. And don't forget what I have told you. Now leave quickly. The weather is turning.
All right, I guess.
And now they're traveling. You see they abandoned their boat. They're going through this field. He goes, what a crazy tale this three-headed thing gave us. A land of dreams, a mysterious seed, a being that suffers of I don't know what, and Raken, the god who can't stay still, the king who can't stay still. What kind of a dwarf is he? And then our Norin just wishes for Aaron and Utton to be with him.
Oh.
Meanwhile, our thief just says, if my big brother knew 100 times my weight in salt. And this is the end of this book.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So clearly, awesome. First of a trilogy. It's established all the characters. It's told us there's something going on bigger than they know. There's still a lot of mystery, though.
I was thinking that everyone was like, "Don't forget anything I've told you." I'm like, "What do you mean? You've just exposition dumped everything."
Yeah, but in a way that's very mysterious. Like, okay, they've attracted the attention of a powerful being who suffers from an unspeakable pain. But, is it sin? Is it hurl? We don't know. There's a lot still unexplained, I think. I mean, I want to read the next book, Like,
oh, yeah, 100%. I'm really like...
Yeah. So, this... how long have we been streaming now? Like, it takes about an hour to go through. Yeah. A little bit over an hour.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little bit slower than when you're reading it on your own, of course. But
yeah, because I'm making comments. That's why.
Yeah, and I am too sometimes. But yeah, the artwork is so great. I love the world, so well realized.
Do you know what? It's gonna sound weird, but the artwork definitely has a French feeling to it.
Oh yes, it doesn't sound weird. It's very, and this is from. Let me see. Do we have the?
But like, if you were to ask me why, I couldn't pinpoint why.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. One of the things I find with the, and it's the same with manga, the cover is done by the same artist who does the content. Whereas with American comic books, it's often not the case. They have a different cover artist.
Right, yeah.
Which I find always so frustrating because you see this great cover art and then you open it and it's like, this looks nothing like what I thought it would be. It's not always, which is sometimes it's fine because the interior art is also just as great, just a different style. But sometimes it's really disappointing and that gets very annoying. But I'm trying to think when I bought this, and I think it was in the summer of '89. So that's like pretty old. And I have no idea if you can still buy them. They do go out of print sometimes. But
that book's older than I am.
Yeah. Well, my copies of it are. The first two were out. I was on a trip and I found them on sale, so I bought them.
Yeah.
I have read some Donjon. I don't have any though.
I'm aware of it.
Yeah. No, I have a bunch of the different bande dessinée, all types. So I think sometimes once I have the webcam,
maybe one of these days I'll send you one of the bande dessinées that I've read, and you can do it on here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Be awesome.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
But yeah, no, this was fucking great, man. I was really engrossed in this story. I'm like, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah, exactly. It's so. I mean, I think it's quite well written. They've done a lot of subtle stuff. The world building is great. The artwork is great. And the language used. I mean, I don't think I did it justice when I translated the little tidbits of poetry that they use, but hopefully I managed to give it get the feel across of what it's like.
Mate, that's all right. Most poets who write in one language can't even do it well. So,
no, that's true. So, I mean, I just tried to get a bit of the feel more than forcing a rhyme or anything like that.
Well, if you need a consultation on that, you got me.
Yeah, no problem. So my suggestion is, unless you can't, I believe I'm free next Monday, so we could read book 2 Monday next week.
Sounds good to me, mate.
Sounds good to you?
Me.
Okay, hold on, let me check something. Yeah, should be fine. We might have to do the stream a little later, because I might finish work a bit later, but I think it'll be fine.
It's only just over an hour, so it's right.
Yeah, so and I think with that we can call it. Thank you everyone who's been here, much appreciated, and we'll see you next time.
Take care all. Have a good night.